Today's headline is Famous Mining Strikes, written by Thomas E. Steward. This article contains two stories. The first one has the headline, Colorado Turns to Silver. It says, although her mining operations began in the usual way, with a search for free gold in the form of nuggets and dust that could be washed from loose gravel or easily crushed rock, Colorado was due to have her main mining wealth developed in the form of silver. The results of gold mining fell somewhat short of the expectations many had held. In 1864, Governor R.W. Steele, accompanied by two companions, started from Empire in search of the less precious, but as they hoped more plentiful metal. In September, they discovered the Belmont Silver Lode on McClellan Mountain, the first important discovery of a silver-bearing lode in Colorado. Both the float material found adjacent to the mine and the ore in the lode itself assayed high in silver. A new era in Colorado mining, one that has lasted down to the present day, was ushered in by this discovery. Relatively little progress in mining was made as long as the stamp mill was the main means for separating the silver from the ore. But in 1867, a successful smelting venture was begun at Blackhawk. New markets were opened for the ore as a result of the new method, and prosperity increased. In those earliest days, the mines were in remote and isolated regions. Almost none of the facilities enjoyed by modern industry were available to the miners, and swift means of transportation were wholly lacking. Until 1870, the greatest difficulty confronted the miners due to the lack of transportation, and charges for freighting in supplies and hauling out the ore were often ruinous and always excessive. A remedy for this condition was found when on June 22, 1870, the Denver Pacific Railroad was completed from Denver to its connection with the Union Pacific at Cheyenne. And on August 15th of the same year, a road then known as the Kansas Pacific also reached Denver. By September, a third rail line into Denver, the Colorado Central, had been opened between that city and Golden. This line brought communication with the east to the very entrance of the mountain valley of Clear Creek. During the next 3 years, vein after vein was discovered in the hills about Georgetown, and the district came to have the name Georgetown Triangle, by which it is still known to geologists. Some of the new strikes were extraordinarily rich, and the development of silver mines in the vicinity of Idaho Springs added to the output. Another panic, that of 1873, far greater than its predecessor of 1859, again affected the mining areas when it reduced the price of silver and again turned many of the hardier miners back to prospecting for gold. From 1876 on, every year saw far more wealth produced from silver ore than from gold in Clear Creek County. The maximum silver production of $2,839,488 was recorded in 1894. The best single year's output of gold was $931,671 in 1902. The second story is the headline, A Canadian Gold Strike. It says, deep in the Canadian wilderness, about halfway between the point where James Bay hangs down from Hudson's Bay and Georgian Bay shoots off from Lake Huron, lies one of the most valuable deposits of precious metals recently discovered on the North American continent. This is the Porcupine Gold Field, which was first found in the summer of 1909. Because of the remoteness of the field, its surroundings of rocky hills and deep forests, Porcupine held to a remarkable degree the elements of romance and adventure that traditionally go with the typical treasure hunt. Perhaps no more than 200 miles southeast of Porcupine lies the famous mining district of Cobalt, which is the principal source of nickel today in all North America. Silver has also been produced at Cobalt in large quantities, and it was due to the presence of many daring miners at Cobalt that the Porcupine Field was found. The presence of free gold visible in the mineral veins of the rocks stirred the imagination of those who entered Porcupine soon after the big strikes had been made and fabulous prices were paid for claims. It seemed as though the sight of the rich stuff in its native form excited purchasers more than the much richer ore could do when the precious metal was mixed with something else or disguised in chemical combination. One claim sold for $350,000, of which $50,000 was paid down and the balance was due in payments of $50,000 a month over a stretch of 5 months. More than in most other new gold fields, Porcupine was developed by men with large capital who bought up claims and took a chance that they would be as valuable as they promised. Many of the famous Western claims changed hands ultimately at high prices when they were developed property, but Porcupine was not a place where the small miner could readily go it alone. Perhaps the biggest of the mines that have been developed there are the famous Hollinger and those of the United Porcupine Gold Mines. The Dome mines are also near Porcupine. These stories came from the great state of Idaho, being reported in the Payette Valley Sentinel of June 9, 1927. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to continue to uncover all of America's lost and forgotten history, then remember before you leave, to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and remember to like and comment below. And we will see you next time on Americana Archives.